I'm Sean Gallagher.
The only man charged in connection to the mass shooting in the Oregon district expected to plead guilty to firearm charges.
Prosecutors say Ethan Colley has a plea agreement hearing set for next Wednesday where he will enter the plea of guilty to firearms charges. Colley is facing charges he unlawfully possessed firearms and lied to authorities when purchasing them. Details of the plea agreement were not released, but if convicted at trial, Colley could face up to 10 years in prison. I'm Macy Jepson.
Cleveland police looking to hire a few good men and women for next year.
The City of Cleveland's Division of Police says people who complete the Police Training Academy will be paid at least $51,000 per year. They'll be accepting applications until December 12th. All applicants must be 21 years old.
That's Rob Bailey reporting. Another person charged in a child abuse case involving an 11-year-old in Brown County. Charles Breeze, now also accused of abusing and starving the child to the point of malnourishment, who weighed less than 50 pounds when she was rescued. And Mercy Health officials in Toledo say a plan to build apartments and stores on land near St. Vincent Medical is all about giving their residents a convenient place to live while also revitalizing Cherry Street in the Glass City. Mercy hopes to have a developer by January and wants to break ground sometime in 2020. I'm Kyle Cornell.
Filling your news feed with the top trending news at the top and bottom of the hour. Columbus's news is on News Radio 610 WTBN.
Indeed, used by over 3 million businesses for hiring, where business owners and HR professionals can post job openings with screener questions, then sort, review, and communicate with candidates from an online dashboard. Learn more at Indeed.com/hire.
Listen up, Central Ohio. Interested in learning how to generate active and passive income flipping real estate tax liens? Then listen to this. The Premier Tax Lien Company is offering a free tax lien kit, which contains educational videos and materials that'll show you how to invest in government tax liens, which can earn up to 18%. Investments that are secured by real estate. Plus, see how you can access the Premier Tax Lien Company's inventory not available to the general public. So, if you want to learn how to become a real estate investor without swinging a hammer or being a landlord, text Columbus to 31,000 now. Get your free tax lien kit and get ready to learn how to invest in tax liens. Text Columbus to 31,000 right now to get your free tax lien investors kit plus 2 free tickets to a live training event in this area. Text Columbus to 31,000. That's Columbus to 31,000 for your free tax lien kit now. Individual results may vary.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. I'm your host, Eric. My father, Phil, is not sitting beside me today, but I got a lot of good friends with me, so we are not going to worry about that. Guys, I want to talk about something today that is it's very important. It's worth a discussion. It's occurring next year, JC. And Elton John just announced on his farewell tour he's coming back to Columbus.
Oh,
how does that work? That's almost like you retire. Everyone comes to your retirement party.
Where was that?
And then you come back.
Hear about a retirement party. So, but no, I'm here. I'm here. So
I'm not complaining about this.
We're doing training here. We're doing a radio show. We're doing great. So.
Yep. So, but he is coming back next year.
Okay. Good.
We saw him last year for his farewell tour.
Yeah.
But I guess he's coming back again.
Okay,
so, yeah,
that sounds good.
Next year.
Okay,
so we need
all
some lightheartedness considering what we're going into next year.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. A tough one.
It is. Well, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, is to always bring you the facts about the industry and ultimately help our listeners and our customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, we have a guest joining us at 12:30. Actually, he's standing here right now. I haven't hit his button yet, and who knows, I might ease into this. So he's very pro-Second Amendment, pro-gun, very educated on the firearms debate, a safe, responsible owner of firearms, outspoken about the violence in our culture today. And get this, JC, He's a college professor.
That I know.
Which you don't oftentimes hear who is that passionate about this. And
that's very surprising given the nature of our educational associations from high school through college that at least I've experienced.
Right. So at 12:30, we're going to welcome Kent State Professor Anthony Vanderhorst to the show. He's actually here. Like I said, we might turn the mic on here in a second.
On YouTube, you can catch him. So
that's right. And that is right. At 12:20, though, JC has the gun of the week, and it is it's one that we have a couple of them here in the store. Yeah. I don't know much about it, JC. For as many as we've had come through here, it's the real deal. We sell quite a few of them, and it's probably worth talking about because for the price, it is a heck of a firearm.
And that's the deal. For the price, it's just really, really exceptional. If you can spend 3 times as much and get something that's a little bit better, but this is really, Ruger did a great job.
And that's at 12:20. And that's going to be sponsored by Jackson Egress Windows. We have to thank our sponsors, Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, the Trigger Group, Black Wing Shooting Centers, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, which we are seeing a lot of these days, and LEPD Training Facility, all that help the show make it possible each week. Joining me today in the LEPD studio, JC sits to my right. JC, did you see our piece? We had a nice piece on PBS this week.
Yeah, that was really good. You did a great job on that. I mean,
it was nice.
That was wonderful.
They came in and we did it. It was probably like a 5-6 minute segment.
Yeah, and this is PBS, so it was. I was glad to see finally somebody from the left, and normally it's a pretty left-leaning organization, actually entertain. Really some facts and anyway.
So that was good. It was on WOSU, and I think it went out to all of Ohio, whatever the other affiliate stations are across Ohio. I'll say I had a conversation this week, and JC, I don't know if we've had a chance to talk about this. I had a unique conversation. I talked about it last week. I was able to sit down with someone this week from a group who is a traditionally anti-gun group. So
traditionally, that would be one of the ones that I would say is one of the traditional.
Right. Yeah. It's one everyone heard of. Right. And we had a very good discussion. It was just her and I, and we sat down. The store was closed. And there was a couple things, a couple aha moments where I said, okay, I understand what you're saying. And you know what? Two big things came out of it for me. One was her side, including her and her husband, are scared to death of gun owners. To the point that she went on to say that her husband didn't want her to come because he knows how gun owners are, and he was afraid for her safety. Can you believe that? I mean, that's how that's their impression, and and it stems, I'm sure, as she said, it stems from people who are out there and very vocal about bringing your ARs everywhere, and this. I mean, that she thinks that is representative of everyone, and.
Well, then she should come in here when we're not closed and actually see the people and the staff, and it's.
And the other thing too that I was we know about, we talk about, but we don't hone in sometimes, is she was very much part of her issue with the whole firearm debate is the focus having not been on the suicide part of it. So, we always focus on that 10,000 lives a year that are by murders, by firearms, and so forth, and how that breaks down. But she was focusing heavily on the 20,000 a year by suicides, which is a tragic thing, and it's increased. And so, I mean, it was a valid point to listen to. So it was a good conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ignore. 60% of the gun deaths are from suicide. But, but my opinion is, hey, you can kill yourself a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue as much just focusing on the gun. I think it's a mental health issue.
My father's not here, but I am sure he's listening. But sitting to my left today is the professor. He came a few minutes early.
Thanks, guys.
It's good seeing you. You know what? And so I don't want to put you on the spot, but you invited me up to your class a couple weeks ago to teach or to guest speak and stuff. How did that go over? What's the response? I mean, was it overwhelming? Are they just calling for me back? Or
yeah, in fact, there was a lot of people who said they'd love to have you back. They couldn't believe the amount of information that they got, how much misinformation that they feel like they're getting off of social media. So when you came in and you were talking about what the facts actually are, it was actually quite shocking for many of them. In fact, one person who was adamantly against guns. I had done a presentation before you came on no affirmative duty to respond, right? 200,000 cops on the streets at any given time at best. And if you call 911, the law has said, and I took them through the laws, as you guys have done on this show many times, that they don't have to respond. And then you came in and gave the facts, and she came up to me after class the next day after you had left and said she's actually considering how do I protect me and my 17-year-old daughter? My husband has passed away. I'm thinking I need to get a firearm to be able to protect me and my daughter. Yeah, so it was an impactful moment for many people because she's been very outspoken in the classroom.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good. And, you know, and I mean, I joke with you and stuff, but all honesty, it was good. I like being in those situations because we sit here and talk amongst ourselves, and it's talking, we're preaching to the choir, and I like to hear some of the other views. That's why we met with this lady this week. I mean, I want to educate myself and hone my thoughts on this, and sometimes that's putting yourself in a uncomfortable situation to get those questions to make you think about it. So it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it.
And I applaud you for inviting him up there. I mean, I just when you only get one side of something all your life, that's all you know.
Right.
And it really, I applaud you.
It's education and information.
It's education,
right?
exactly.
And what I tell him is, look, I'm not interested in what you think. I'm interested in how you think, right? So take your thought process to its logical conclusion. Therein lies the truth, and then you can deal with things. But if you're not willing to take it to the logical conclusion, so if you are really an adamant supporter of gun control, what does it mean when the cops don't have to show up on a 911 call? What is your answer to that for yourself? I mean, you don't have to answer for the country, but I would like for people who are adamant about gun control to answer that. But it seems like people who are adamantly for gun control never answer the question about no affirmative duty to respond. And nobody really asked that question out loud. So it's nice to have shows like this that talk about it. But if people knew that, and when they find out, they're seriously frightened.
And we always say, hey, when seconds count, I mean, they're minutes away.
Yeah.
I mean,
you look at the shooting just this week in California. It was over in 16 seconds. Yeah. I mean, there's no time in there for someone to come in to save the day. Well, if you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. It says at 610WTVN.com, on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and now on Google Podcasts. That's where I listen to it back each week during my workout. I was listening this week, JC, and I was actually laughing. I don't know, everyone's around me is listening to music, and I'm listening to us and chuckling. And they're like, what is this guy doing? But it's a good place to listen to it back. OnTarget at LEPD.com is where we can send us a question. If we have a gun of the week you want us to do, great place to send it to. Yeah. And then, of course, Facebook Live. It's live. You can see things firsthand. You can see the chatter between commercials, and it stays out there on Facebook, and it actually gets kicked to YouTube as well. So it is time for news. Actually, before news, I want to a big thing. We didn't talk about it last week. I should have. Black Friday's coming up. Yeah. And I think it's the third year in a row, 3i Holsters, our good buddies over there, who probably listening, are going to come here, set up, and will custom make a holster for you while you wait.
And I don't know, they may have 300, 400 different pieces of Kydex. I mean, different colors, different shapes. They can do everything, and their holsters are just fantastic.
They are. I'm actually wearing one right now. Yep. But they're coming for that weekend. So if you have that firearm that it has a funky light on it or a laser and you can't find a holster, they will make it specific to it. And not just, they have some other unique little cases as well. And I tell you what, we a couple years ago when they first showed up here, they were getting started and had a lot of great aspirations. They've got some big contracts now that they are busy. They're actually, and we'll let him talk about it, they're the back-end holster manufacturer for some very well-known gun manufacturers now that are coming with the guns. So it's
great work in that custom, just like you said. So many people have lights, and hey, where do I get a holster? You can come here, get it made while you wait. So great.
Right. So that is coming up. JC, tons of news out there.
Tons of news. I don't know how we're going to get this down. One I'm going to talk about that I hadn't planned on, but our good audience member Tom here handed me this.
Someone from the audience. Who was it in the audience, JC?
Actually, I think it was this gentleman.
That gentleman way over there?
Yeah, I think that one way over there. Anyway, Tom gave me this from the Wall Street Journal just on Wednesday, and it was a socialist is against gun confiscation. It was the Bernie Sanders. They said, I love this where they said, holy Charlton Heston, who expected Bernie Sanders to be the voice of moderation of the Democratic primary, where he just said basically this buyback program that they claim are going to have is basically gun confiscation by the government, and that is basically it. The mandatory, they said it's just confiscation, and it just violates the principles of the nation, and it's just amazing. I wouldn't have expected it, but it's glad to hear one person saying it anyway. So still not going to vote for the guy, but yeah. Anyway, if he even got nominated, Smith & Wesson, that was big news, and I'm kind of wondering why this had occurred, because just 2 years ago, Smith & Wesson, which was separate, everybody knows, it was founded in 1852, and by Horace Smith and Daniel Wesson. But in 2016, they changed the name to American Outdoor Brands Corporation, which owns about 25 different companies like Caldwell, Crimson Trace, Wheeler, Tipton, Franklin, Arsenal, a bunch of things. Well, they split off. They decided to split off. Hasn't officially occurred until probably about 2020 when they get all the paperwork done. But it will be a freestanding organization again, Smith & Wesson. And Smith & Wesson includes their M&P series, Performance Center, and also Thompson Center Arms, which they own, and Gemtech. So they own that.
Right,
the suppressors. That's all part of it. So anyway, that was kind of that was the news. Now, and just to let you know how big they are. The latest facts and figures from the government say that they've made over 1,032,000 pistols in the last year that they have records for, over 207,000 revolvers, and over 265,000 rifles. So that's one of the biggest in the world. But anyway, they're split off again. So just to let you know, the big thing that has really gotten a lot of people shaken up is this thing on Remington, where Remington in Connecticut was sued by some of the one survivor and bought by parents of that Sandy Hook shooting, where 22 people were killed, most of them students, and they sued. Well, everyone went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court. A lot of people said the Supreme Court ruled against them. No, what the Supreme Court did was said, "Hey, we're not taking the case. It's a state case. It hasn't even been tried yet. We don't know what the outcome will be, so we're not going to hear it." Basically, I mean that's kind of the rule. But it just kind of sent shockwaves through the gun world. So there's many of the websites, gun websites. This one happened to be from the Truth About Guns that I picked up, but the same article was down there, and it was written by a lawyer who is certified to present cases before the United States Supreme Court. So just to give you a couple of quick things, they said yes, that it's not protected by the PLCAA, which is the Protection of Lawful Commerce Act in Arms. And that's supposedly saying, hey, just because somebody shoots you with a gun, you get shot with something from Smith & Wesson, you can't shoot Smith & Wesson. You can still sue a manufacturer if there's a defect or something, or if they knowingly did something wrong, but not for that. So they said that one doesn't apply. But second, the Supreme Court didn't find that Remington was liable. The Supreme Court of Connecticut, so even they said that the suit can go forward, but they didn't say that Remington was liable, nor did they fine for the plaintiffs. Matter of fact, it dismissed all but one of the plaintiffs' claim, and the claim that they went ahead and found was that Bushmaster, which is Remington subsidized one of their.
Hey, GC, let's cut the break here because we're running a little bit. When we get back, finish that thought on it. So
all right, we'll pick up.
We'll pick up on that. We're on target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms Range. We'll be right back after the break.
There's a lot of people that focus on the economy every day, whether it's your personal economy, you're investing,
yes, ma'am.
You're looking at the macro economy of the globe. But hey, let's just talk about it from a practical perspective.
In the restroom?
You want to diversify. A lot of people will check out gold and silver. And if you're thinking about gold and silver, maybe need a little information about adding that.
Good.
Your breaks are too short. I get nervous. You sound great, though.
All right, thank you.
So no issues
great inventory
today,
and can talk you through.
Beautiful.
If you want to buy silver because it's less expensive than gold, you can buy it in U.S. Mint products, or you can just buy it in ounce, 5-ounce, 10-ounce, up to 100-ounce bars. Stash it away, and if you want a tangible asset, or if the price goes way up and you just want to cash out, it's easy to do at Allen's. Gold the same way. I mean, recently, gold topped $1,400 an ounce. That means there's a lot of people buying and a lot of people selling, which means the inventory is always gettable. And while you're there, poke around. It's a collector's paradise, I promise. State Street in Westerville or online at allensinc.com. Allen's Coin Shop, serving collectors since 1960.
I'm Lauren Bright Pacheco, and I wanted to introduce you to my new podcast, Murder in Oregon. It dives into the mysterious killing of Michael Franke, a high-ranking political official in Salem, Oregon. The murder has remained unsolved for 30 years. It's a riveting and emotional tale of corruption, bravery, and deep family bonds. iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, and it's easy to see why. Find Murder in Oregon on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Your ABC 6 first warning weather for today, a mix of sun and clouds, dry and cool, high of 43. For tonight, a few clouds show up, cold again, low of 26. For Sunday, mostly sunny. It's going to be a pleasant day, high of just 46. Currently 40 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Columbus's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Well, it's all right. Riding around in the breeze. Well, it's all right. If you live the life
Just when you turn the show back.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm Eric. I'm your host. Joined today in the LAPD studios with JC from the sales team. Sits to my right. We also welcome our guest professor sitting to my left. Professor, I'll tell you what. You know me. We kind of pick the music and stuff. Do you recognize who sings that? You probably recognize that, didn't you? Right from the crowd. You know what? There's so many people out there. Someone yelled it out.
Oh, it's yeah.
The Traveling Wilburys.
And look at who that group is made of.
Can you believe that at the time? I mean, it was made of Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison,
and
Jeff Lynne, and Tom Petty.
Those guys.
I mean,
together.
talk about that.
Great, short-lived album, but fantastic.
2 albums, I think.
2 albums. Yeah, they did.
I read an article on that, and they said there was no egos in the room. They had a blast on it.
And they were amazed that Ray Orbison knew all these old English drinking songs. And they said that just kind of blew them away. Harrison said, "I can't believe that."
So we went into break, JC. We were talking a little bit about Remington. Everyone's worried about this, that the Supreme Court said they are not going to rule on whether they can be sued out of the Sandy Hook shooting and stuff, which when you think about it on the surface, I mean, where does it stop?
I mean, that every gun manufacturer would be out of business.
Well, not just that. I mean, let's sue Anheuser-Busch for every DUI. Let's sue Ford for every speeding death. I mean, where does it stop?
Where does it stop?
But you said it's not all as bad as it sounds.
Just so people could realize it, what they did was they refused to hear it, so now it's going to go in Connecticut only, according to the rules. And the rules in Connecticut don't apply to all the other states. So what they decided to hear in the case was that they knowingly violated false marketing, saying that they marketed the gun in Connecticut to entice younger people to go out and buy this and therefore use it.
Younger people, how? I mean, you have to be 18. I mean, they're
but that's
crazy.
That was the premises.
Yep.
So they're trying to find something, and that is what the Supreme Court of Connecticut Supreme Court found. So, but the plaintiffs, just to let you know, would have to prove 3 things. And the person who wrote this article, who is a certified attorney to go before the United States Supreme Court, he said he said, I don't even see how they could do this. But they'd have to prove that Bushmaster, in fact, violated the Connecticut false marketing statute. Well, that may have occurred. They have to prove that Bushmaster knowingly violated it. But the third thing, that the violations approximately caused the plaintiff's injuries. So in his humble opinion, he said that just seems virtually impossible to prove in all 3 of those things. So he said, don't get too rumpled up about this, because he said, yes, we'll have to see when it plays out. But that's why the U.S. Supreme Court didn't hear it, because it hadn't played out in Connecticut yet. So
I mean, the concern that I see is just with any of these, the plaintiffs may know that this will not go anywhere, but it's tying up money and these manufacturers. So where does that? And we've heard that if they have deep pockets, they're all about doing that. It's just like these cities in Ohio who continue to enact laws that supersede Ohio law, and they know with preemption that that's not legal, but they'll do it just to stretch thin the NRA or whoever's supporting it,
And I do, and we talked about this morning. It's just, I do not know this to be a fact, but it just seems suspicious that Smith & Wesson split off the firearms division, because if this would happen, the lawsuits that could occur could wipe out all the companies. So they made them their own standing company, probably a preemptive thing, just to make sure that something didn't happen. We are not saying anything is going to happen according to this thing, we think. And one last story, which is this is the danger of red flag laws, and you really need to pay attention to this. An 84-year-old veteran who actually works at a school was upset because the police had their own resource officer, and when school's coming in, he decided to leave his a cup of coffee across the street, and he is a crossing guard volunteer there. and was in a restaurant going, this is crazy. This guy violated his duty. And he said, somebody come in and shoot the place up. Well, a waitress in the restaurant heard him say that. 2 days later, called the chief of police in this little town, which is in Massachusetts, by the way. And they immediately went to this guy. They took him off the job while he was on the job 2 days later, took him in, went to his house, took his license to have a gun away from him, and confiscated his guns. All on the hearsay of a waitress overhearing him say. And what he was saying was, we've got to protect our children. He said, I was in the military, and he was a former police officer. He said, when you're on duty, you're on duty. Walk away, that's when things happen. But the point of this is, folks, one person making a call to the police, and the police chief came personally and took away his guns, and now he's going, okay, so they gave him his job back of crossing guard, but they didn't give him his guns back. And how do you do this? How do you go? So this is the danger. Someone hearsay can come in, take everything you have, and then there's nothing set up for you to get this back or to have a hearing. There's no chance to present it. Yeah, right. No due process. Confiscation. That's just, it is
crazy.
Wrong. It is wrong.
So, JC, as we are finishing up here, one thing on a positive note, and you and I talked about this, Professor. I haven't mentioned this to you. Yesterday, we had a gentleman come in, and Mr. Okie Taylor came to the range.
Oh, wow.
He's going to be 95 soon. 95. He was part of the U.S. Army 8th Armored Division in World War II, serving in the European theater, including the Bulge. Yes, he was at the Battle of the Bulge.
My uncle was in there.
So he came in because he wanted to shoot his M1 carbine. So he came in and shot. And you have to go out there on our Facebook, see the story.
So where did he get this M1 carbine?
Well, we're not sure. There's some stories behind it.
And I saw it was incredible. Yep. You said since
1945.
Yep. So heartwarming.
That is.
These guys are getting ready.
Come back from the bottom of the hour break. We're going to get to JC. We're going to do a quick gun of the week, and then we're going to get to our special guest who sits to my left, the Professor. We are on target, going live from LEPD Firearms and Range right here at 999 Bethel Road. We'll be right back.
Diamonds Direct, breaking all the rules this weekend. Final sale of the year. Days of extra.
What you thinking?
Your final chance before the holidays to save extra 20%
I'll go reach real quick.
on virtually everything. Rings,